Yes, I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. I'm Batman, Alfred.
I'm Batman.
I am Batman!
I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm vengeance.
Greetings, Bat Family. Welcome back to Holy BatCast, brought to you by Real Fans for Real Movies. Make sure you visit our website, holybatcast.com. It is your one-stop shop for all things Holy BatCast, but you can also find us all over the internet on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast, and you will find us. And if you love the show, you want to help support us, you can do that on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/holybatcast, and I got a little patron shout out to give here. New patron, Steven Smith. Hello, Steven. Thank you so much for doing that. We know you don't have to, but it really does mean a lot to us. We appreciate it. So, Steven, welcome to the Bat Family. You can be Cassandra Cain. I don't know. Just randomly give you a character. No, Steven, it really is appreciated. Thank you, and that's great. We're glad to have you on board. So, again, as always, a big thank you to all our patrons. It means a lot to us. You can do that at patreon.com/holybatcast. We're part of the Real Fans Podcast Network, so if you're looking for other shows to enjoy, you can check those out at rf4rm.com. And as always, I am Andy DiGenova, your Bat host. You can find me on Twitter or on Instagram. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova. And joining me this week is my old pal from down under. It is Brendan Lowe. We're going to chat while Jamie Drewley sleeps soundly, snug in his bed in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Not too bad.
Awesome.
Not too bad at all.
I know that we both have been watching The Boys, and
Yes,
there was a scene in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I was like, oh my God, they're going to see Jamie. He's going to be in this episode, but he was not.
Well, it's funny, I watched the first episode on Friday night, not realizing that 3 had dropped, and I was talking to our friend Philip Barker, and he said, did you see where Billy woke up? And I'm like, no. He's like, Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'm like, oh, okay. And it was shortly after that I saw in the Real Fans chat, Julian had said actually 3 episodes had dropped. I'm like, oh, shit. So, yeah, I was just like, oh, my God. So, yeah, that was a nice surprise to have the 3.
I know. Yep, I'm caught up myself. It's not DC related, but it is DC adjacent, and it's really good. I'm really enjoying it, but I feel like I would enjoy it even more if I was a Billy Joel fan.
You know what's really bizarre is we watched the first episode Friday night, and that morning, like I guess it's our version of the Billboard charts, it's called the ARIA charts.
Mm-hmm.
Every week on Facebook, they do a retro countdown, like the top 10 of this date and this year and everything. And it was 1985, and it had that Billy Joel clip in it. And I was like, oh,
interesting. That's random.
Yeah, and then like that evening, I was watching The Boys, and it was the same clip. I was like, that is really, really bizarre.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler, but for some reason, the first 3 episodes of The Boys, very Billy Joel heavy. Very Billy Joel heavy.
Well, I actually forgot, because I said to Jess, I'm like, hang on, when the events of the first episode in season 1, I won't say anything in case people haven't seen it, that kind of led to this whole chain of events, the last thing Huey talked about with his girlfriend was Billy Joel.
Oh, and I don't really remember that.
About that. Yeah, because we've only rewatched it recently, and I'd forgotten about that, but that's why.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I've never been a Billy Joel guy. Do you know why? Because even I am not that white.
Is it? Well, I'm white enough that the other day, whilst working from home, I was, how you get to that stage where it's like, I don't feel like listening to, I was sort of over podcast for a little bit. I wanted to listen to music, but it's kind of like when you've got all your favorite movies on a shelf and you don't know what you want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I was the same, like Spotify. I literally have every album artist that I love at my fingertips. And I'm like, I don't want to listen to any of that. I ended up like randomly listening to the best of Phil Collins.
Oh, that's random, but okay.
It's actually kind of nice, but
That's not bad.
I guess that kind of makes me really white too, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty white. That's pretty white.
And you better believe I did the air drums in the air tonight.
Obviously. I mean, the only Phil Collins that is in regular rotation in my life is the Tarzan soundtrack.
That's fair enough.
Anyway, none of this is DC related.
Part of our wedding soundtrack.
What?
Said "You'll Be in My Heart" was part of our wedding soundtrack.
Oh, nice. Anyway, what I was saying is none of this is DC related. I'm sorry, friends. We didn't mean to go down that. But anyway, watch The Boys if you haven't. It's great. And I know Jamie, even though he is not here, would agree. He's been the biggest freaking proponent. That's it. The biggest freaking proponent of that show. So yeah, watch The Boys if you're into that sort of thing. But anyway, what we're going to talk about today? We're going to do a little more news. We're keeping it simple this week because we've been very busy. We've been doing a lot of other stuff, and this is not the first time we're recording today.
No.
So I think it's because that's already in the can. I think it's worth teasing and throwing it out there. Is this morning we had a very cool interview with Kevin Altieri, who is one of the main directors for Batman the Animated Series, and he had his hands in so many different cool animated shows over the years. So we had a great chat with him this morning, but that interview is going to be released in time for Batman Day. So because we had to prepare for that, we didn't have time to prepare for another fully fleshed out Holy BatCast, but at the same time, we love you guys. We want to give you something to listen to this week. So we figured, hey, we'll chat about some news. We'll look forward to DC FanDome Day 2, kind of see what's on the horizon. And then, as always, we'll answer some emails. So nice and simple today.
Yeah. And I must say, too, not just, well, I guess because I've got, the inside track as I was part of the interview. If you're a fan of Batman the Animated Series, don't miss that episode. He was giving us gold. It was such a good interview. Like, I messaged Andy on our phones privately whilst he was talking. I was just like, I'm effing loving this. It's such a good interview. I can't wait for you guys to hear it.
Yeah, I agree. He was awesome, so nice, and yeah, just gave us so much great info. It was fascinating, and bless him, he talked way longer than we had agreed and didn't complain at all. So he was great. He was just a champ, and I think it came out really well. So I can't wait for everybody to hear it.
Yeah. Such a good morning.
Yeah, great morning. But anyway, you know who didn't have a great morning earlier this week?
Our Batman.
Batman didn't have a great morning a couple days ago. So here's the thing. Here's the problem. On the last episode, somebody wrote in, oh, it was Tim Rooney. Look at that. I can remember. Tim Rooney was like, hey, release dates. You think the Batman's going to make it for October? And me, like an idiot, I opened my stupid mouth. I need to learn to never open my stupid mouth. And I said, well, they're about to resume filming. So, pending any COVID outbreaks on set, they're still good to make their October release date. And because I said it, guess what happened?
Batman got COVID.
Batman got COVID. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I feel responsible. I feel like I owe Robert Pattinson like a fruit basket or something. I'm so sorry. And would that make him a fruit bat? Maybe it would.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, so like the first news were like, oh, Batman's resuming filming. There were spy pics, as there always are. And so it was like, oh, it's happening. And we all got excited because we just saw that awesome trailer. And we're like, yay, back into production. Away we go. And it seems like maybe they did a COVID test as a precautionary measure of the entire cast and crew before they really started back up. And in that measure, they were like, oh, someone tested positive for COVID. And so that was the first news, was like somebody on the set of the Batman tested positive for COVID. And we're like, oh, crap, that's no good. And then like, I think it was 12 hours later something where it was like, it wasn't just someone, it was Robert Pattinson.
Well, You might be in the same boat as me. I'm not sure if, your sleep patterns are a bit different. You are a couple of hours behind, but I completely missed the whole someone tested positive for COVID. I jumped straight to it was Robert Pattinson.
Oh, me too.
And-
But I'm just like, I followed it back and saw
exactly.
that there were two reports a few hours apart. So but yes, while I slept while it all happened. And so then I woke up and the next day I saw it all.
Yeah, I was the same. I was like, holy shit, it's Robert Pattinson. And then as I was sort of scrolling through my Facebook feed and Twitter, I kind of watched it happen in reverse. It was really bizarre.
Totally. So weird. So they paused production. And then there were some conflicting reports. It was like, no, production's moving ahead. And then they were like, no, it's not. It's paused, but only temporarily. They're going to quarantine everyone for 2 weeks. So it seems like that's where it is right now, is that they are ready to go. But as a precaution, they're going to quarantine everyone, make sure that everybody's healthy. And so, honestly, the health and safety of the cast and crew of the film come first. That's number one. It's just a movie.
Definitely.
It's a movie we can't wait to see, but it's just a movie. I want everyone to be safe. So, I am hoping for that Pattinson is okay. I'm hoping that he is relatively asymptomatic, because we've gotten no info on that. Like, how sick is he really? Is he asymptomatic? We don't know. I hope he's okay. I hope he feels okay. And honestly, I hope he gets better. Not just so we can get our Batman movie, but I hope he gets better because he's a human being and deserves to get better. So, really just, hoping for the best, be safe. We'll wait for our Batman movie, but I just, I want everyone to be okay, especially Batman himself.
I mean, with the thing with the release date, honestly, I'm not putting any stock in any release date at the moment. I mean, the Bond people are really, they've just released a new trailer, a new poster, like they're amping up promotion again, and they're really pushing. It's coming out in October in the UK and November worldwide. And even that, I'm not getting my hopes up. Wonder Woman's meant to come out in 6 weeks? Something like that.
Yeah, in theory.
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen. I would love it to, but I'm not going to be surprised if they get bumped again.
They released Tenet. Tenet's out there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any numbers for
box
Tenet.
office.
Yeah, I haven't seen numbers, so I don't know about if it's encouraging enough that they'll move forward with Wonder Woman. But it'll be really interesting to see.
The next couple of days too, now that Mulan's dropped on Disney Plus, is going to be interesting as well to see how that's doing.
Yeah, and I think you can't help but put them up against each other. Like, how did Tenet do? It's released theatrically. How's Mulan doing? Released at home. Is it comparable? Is one making more than the other? Is Mulan not doing well enough that you're like, oh, maybe that's not the best thing for a tentpole? I don't know. And the thing is, we will get box office numbers for Tenet, but at home, whatever it is, premium VOD numbers, I don't think we're going to get that for Mulan, because it bit Universal in the butt when they said how successful Trolls was.
Oh, did it? I know they released that it was successful, but I didn't sort of hear that it bit them.
Oh, it caused a huge issue with AMC. AMC said, we'll never show another Universal movie again.
I do remember that. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it was all drama. And, they've since, I guess, patched things up or whatever. But because of that, like when Scoob came out, Warner Brothers didn't say a word about how Scoob did because they didn't want to end up in the same situation.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit shitty from AMC too, though.
I know.
It's not like Universal.
In this case,
it was more that Universal were like they were going to change the way they release. They were going to do theatrical and then VOD like 2 weeks later or something. I think that's where the problem was.
Well, it was because Trolls did so well, and they were like, oh, this really shows the viability of this sort of release, and that's what made AMC mad.
Yeah, still. Bit of a dick move, but anyway, people just want the entertainment.
Yeah. So that's why I wonder, like, for the Mulan stuff, like, is Disney going to keep it to themselves, or are they just going to say something very vague, like, it was really successful for us, and we're so excited that people are enjoying it at home, something like that doesn't need any backup. But yeah, to your point, it will be interesting to see what the results of these releases, these high-profile releases are, and then how it will or will not affect Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah, I guess too. This is just a massive hypothetical, but even if Disney don't release figures or anything, and if cinemas still aren't open in the next 3 months, say by Christmas time, and they go Black Widow, Disney Plus, same sort of thing they're doing with Milan, it would be safe to say that Milan was a success.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, seeing what their next move is, you're right, will be very revealing. Using Mulan as the test case.
Yeah.
Well, all right, we'll see about that. But yeah, back to the original point is, bad news for the Batman. They all seem pretty optimistic that it's not going to be a very long pause in production. I hope that's true. But again, I hope that is true as long as everybody can stay safe. That should come first, A movie's a movie. People's lives are their lives.
And he wasn't the only DC actor to get hit this week as well.
Oh, God, you're right. I almost forgot because The Rock and his family all tested positive as well.
Yeah. From what I gathered from what I read, though, it's something that had sort of happened previously and they're already on the mend. It wasn't a case of they'd just found out.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but that's what I gathered.
Got it. Yeah. And, if anyone can defeat COVID, it's The Rock.
Yeah.
I hope.
It's either him or Chuck Norris.
I know. I hope that what happens is, The Rock, his natural antibodies become the cure, and then we all get The Rock's blood as a vaccine, and then we all have just a little piece of The Rock with us at all times.
Yeah. That would be amazing. And what else could we say except you're welcome?
So anyway, yes, hopefully, it sounds like they're doing okay, and I hope they continue to do so. Something else I forgot to mention before we get to DC FanDome is this is sort of FanDome adjacent because we did day one, which we talked about in depth. It was great. It was terrific. We got a lot of great news and footage and information based on that FanDome. But something that they did that was a really weird is they bumped a FanDome panel for Superman Man of Tomorrow, and they gave it as an exclusive to IGN.
Oh, I completely missed that.
Yeah, which is so odd, but okay, cool. I didn't watch it because I didn't even know it happened until after it was over. But it seems like it will be part of day 2, so you'll still be able to see it. But anyway, because they did that, some more news came out of that we haven't had a chance to discuss yet, and that is the upcoming animated film slate.
True, yes.
So we talked about what do we hope to get out of FanDome, and that was something I think you brought up. You were like, I want to see what the new animated movies are. And so we did get that, but with all of the craziness with everything else, we kind of forgot about it. So the first one is one we already knew about, and I do think that we discussed it at least briefly on a recent episode, and that was Batman Soul of the Dragon, the 70s set kung fu / blaxploitation Batman movie.
That's the one, yeah. I think we discussed it on the FanDome sort of lead-up episode.
Maybe that was it, yeah. So that one is coming out first quarter of 2021. So that one's up first. That one we already know about, and we know, we have the talent and everything. So that one's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, but we already knew about that one. The next one up is the spring of 21, and this is Justice Society World War II.
Surprisingly, I was more excited to hear about that one than I was the next one you're going to talk about.
Interesting. Well, let's talk about this one first. Why did this one excite you so much?
Just because, it's an original story. Obviously, the Justice Society have sort of become a bit more prominent with, the success of Stargirl and everything. And I've read some JSA stuff in the past, which I've always liked. But I also really like World War II movies and documentaries and things like that. I sort of really did a deep dive into World War II the last couple of years, learning. It's one of those things, you know about it, but I never really knew about it. And, just sort of researching my grandfather's history and everything with it. So the fact that it's an original story set in World War II, that really, really got my interest. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by it, but because there's no supporting info yet, I'm kind of wait and see as far as it goes. Because I love that again, it's kind of a new property, taking advantage of Justice Society, which to your point, heavily featured in Stargirl, will be heavily featured in Black Adam, so it is becoming more of a priority property. I like getting a movie based on that, but I think that like once I see a character line up and some artwork, I'll get a little more excited. For now, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't see that coming, but cool, cool to do something a little bit different.
Yeah. No, I'm pumped for that.
So that one is slated for the spring of 2021. So we will get news sooner than later. And then the last one is another two-parter, and this one has been a long time coming. It's kind of one that we've been waiting for years, and everyone knew it would come eventually. It was just a matter of when and how. And that is, we are officially getting Batman The Long Halloween, but as a two-part film. So part 1 will be the summer of 21, and then part 2 will be the fall of 21. Again, no voice cast, no artwork just yet, but still, of course, I'm looking forward to this. What about you?
Oh yeah, look, don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to it. The Long Halloween's a great story, and if it's half as good as what they did with the Dark Knight Returns two-parter, we're in for a hell of a good time. Because I love that movie. I like it more than the comic. I don't know if that's sacrilegious to say or not, but I really, really do.
I think that's fair. I wouldn't be mad at you for saying that.
I do kind of hope, and I'm interested to see if it is like the Dark Knight Returns in the way that they don't necessarily change the story. Like, they might make a few edits here and there, just for the sake of translation. But even though I really liked the animated Hush movie, they took a lot of license there. Same with like Gotham by Gaslight and stuff like that. So I'd like to see a more direct translation and not sort of throw a curveball in there that's not from the comic.
Right.
With something like The Long Halloween. But we'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, and it's interesting. I agree with you, but it's funny because I liked the changes to Gotham by Gaslight, but I didn't like the changes to Hush.
Yeah.
So it just depends, I guess, on what those decisions are. But I agree with you as far as The Long Halloween. I hope it's pretty faithful. I'm really looking forward to it for a number of reasons. Number one, it's an iconic Batman story. I love that it's a two-parter, so it's an epic Batman story. I will be very interested to see what the artwork looks like, to see what the animation style is. How much are they going to try to animate Tim Sale's artwork? It'll be fascinating.
Yeah, because that was the thing. I mean, obviously with Hush, it was in the continuity, so they couldn't really take too much of a license. However, the costumes and stuff they used were extremely faithful.
Oh, yeah.
Even giving Batman the blue and the grey, which was fantastic to see. Whereas, with Dark Knight, they were able to do it in the style of the comic.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those things. I know that Hush is very popular because it's sort of, I don't know if this is going to get me in trouble or not. Hush is really popular because a lot of people like it. The art is better than the story.
Yes.
For me,
that's not inaccurate.
For me, The Long Halloween is the reverse.
Yes. I
think the story's better than the art. I'm not a huge fan of Tim Sale's art, and that's the part I don't know if it's going to get me shot or not. But I don't know. It's a little bit too out there for me. But I love the story. The story.
I mean, I agree with you. I don't love Tim Sale's art. I respect it. I love that he does his thing. That's great. But, of course we all have our personal preferences. And when we did The Long Halloween, the long review way back when on the show, when we were doing one chapter at a time, I even said that. I was like, is this my favorite art style for Batman and his world? No. For this story, does it work? Yes, because it's an interesting noir detective story, and it works for that story. But I do think the animation will be a chance to get the best of both worlds, because that's how I feel about the Dark Knight Returns animated movie, is I don't love Frank Miller's art. I think it's fine, it's just not my favorite. And when they translated it to animation, they kept just enough of that style to make it distinctively Frank Miller, but they also added just enough of, I don't know, shall we say, like softening the edges to make it work for animation. And I think what you got was this really great, clean version that was still very, very representative of what was in the book. And I hope that's what we get here is it's done to emulate that style. It's not going to be exact, but maybe that's okay. Maybe you'll find a nice amalgam that'll work better. And that excites me.
I guess the one that you could use as an example where they just literally take it from the page and animate it would be Year One, which I've always said is odd because I love the Year One graphic novel. I love it more than Dark Knight Returns. Yet the movies, it switched. I prefer the Dark Knight Returns over Year One, and I think Year One is what you get when you literally take the dialogue and the images from the page and just animate it. It felt more like a motion comic than an animated movie, and probably to its detriment. And like I said that as someone who absolutely loves Year One. I was kind of a bit on the movie, even though it was exactly what's in the graphic novel. It's sort of there's a fine line there, and I think Dark Knight Returns just did it better. So that's what I'm hoping we get from The Long Halloween.
Yeah, I completely agree. So I'm really excited to see what that art style looks like. I think it could be really cool. And to your point, I love that it won't feel beholden to being like the in continuity style the way they did with Hush. I still think they did a great job with the animation of Hush in that, like, yes, it was in continuity, but they still made sure that it could be as faithful as possible as far as how the way the characters looked. But here they don't even have to worry about that. They can just do what's right for the movie, and I think that's great. Of course, I love the holidays. I love that next year, like, I'm going to get more Batman Halloween content. So how long have I been asking for it, Brendan?
Well, how long have I known you?
Exactly.
However long that is, longer than that.
Like, more Batman Halloween content, please. I want two of my favorite things together all the time. So the fact that it seems that the Batman film will have some Halloween elements, I hope that they really lean into that. I think that would be amazing. And then to get an animated Batman Long Halloween in time for Halloween as well is so exciting. And yes, the story, it bridges a year, so you hit all the holidays, but it's going to start on Halloween, it's going to end on Halloween. So, oh man, I can't wait. And I don't think it's an accident that they're going to release part 2 in the fall of 21 when the Batman is coming out.
Yeah, they always tend to line up an animated movie with the movie that's coming out. Like Wonder Woman Bloodlines was supposed to be out around the time of Wonder Woman 84.
Right.
So, yeah. I was just when you were talking about having another movie for Batman, content for Halloween, I was just like, when's that Scooby-Doo movie coming out? That's got to be kind of close.
Well, I'm just going to say I might check about every other day to see if it's out yet.
Okay, cool.
And
so when it is released, you will let us know.
I will let you know. But yeah, right now it's on iTunes up for pre-order.
Google October 6th.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's on for pre-order, but it's not available just yet. And once we watch that, depending on how much they lean into the Scarecrow and Batman, we may do it on this show, we may do it on another show. But yeah, I can't wait for that. Because yes, exactly. Speaking of, like, that's another Batman-adjacent Halloween piece of content that I'm looking forward to this year. So I'll have that to tide me over.
The beauty of The Long Halloween, as you said, like, it covers all the holidays. So that gives us a Batman Halloween movie. It gives us a Batman Christmas movie. It gives us a Batman Easter movie.
I know, exactly. St. Paddy's Day.
The gift that keeps on giving.
It's just going to be really interesting to see, because it's such a long story, to see how quick some of those holidays are going to have to be. Even with a two-parter. It's going to be tricky, but I'm excited about it. I can't wait to see how it goes.
No, it's good. The thing is too, it's the last big one that they have.
Yeah.
I guess they haven't done Nightfall.
That's true.
Long Halloween.
I'm expecting, like Nightfall and Night's End two-parter. That seems logical.
Yeah, they're the only sort of the biggies that are left that they haven't really done. Am I wrong?
Huh? I mean, Digital Justice for Jamie.
Of course. That beloved story that everybody knows about.
Everybody's favorite, Digital Justice. I mean, maybe I think No Man's Land could be a possibility.
That could be a bloody mini series. That thing.
Yeah. I mean, so there are other options. There are always more places to go, but yeah, as far as really world-renowned stories that have sort of transcended the medium, yeah, they're getting towards the end of that list. But I'd be more excited to see them dive into some more random ones,
Oh yeah, or even just original stories again. A lot of the original ones I really like
Yeah.
Crisis on Two Earths and that sort of stuff. So I mean, the new Superman movie that's recently hit, the Man of Tomorrow, it's an original story, and it's enjoyable. Like, the animation's really, I love the style that they've done. It's kind of almost not as extreme, but kind of a bit Archer-esque in the way that the characters have that thick black outline and stuff. But
Yeah, I heard about that. I haven't watched it yet, but
yeah, it works. It's good, but no, that's I've been saying for a long time on this show. I'm glad that the continuity's wrapped up, because it does enable them to sort of flex a little bit more, and they don't have to tie everything together. And I loved all those, the first 5 years, I think, where it was all just, they were all individual movies. They didn't need to connect, and they all had their own feel and flavor. And if it was a translation of a particular story, they were able to do it more in that art style and everything. So I'm really looking forward to that return of form.
Yeah, for sure. Well, cool. That's exciting. I'm excited to see what these new animated movies look like, and yeah, Long Halloween really has me excited. Can't wait to see more on that.
Ditto.
Sweet. I mean, and maybe we'll see some little previews or something during FanDome Day 2. It's possible.
That'd be cool.
Because FanDome Day 2 is coming our way in a week. A little less than a week, actually.
Yeah, a week today. Well, yeah, a week today for us.
Yeah, so as of this recording, a little bit less than a week. Real quick, I found this as I was trying to figure out what we're going to talk about this week. The CEO of Warner Brothers, Ann Sarnoff, she talked a little bit about FanDome, so I thought this was worth reading. She said, after FanDome, we saw viewership of our DC movies pop on HBO Max, so we're using all of our businesses to drive new businesses. She said one of the big themes we've been talking about since the beginning is using our content and our IP in bigger and better ways, and that includes fan connectivity and engagement. And then speaking about the future of FanDome, she says it's clear we have a very big fan base that wants to stay very connected. We're going to keep doing it in the spirit of super serving fans, and then we'll see if there's a way to monetize it. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, of course it makes sense. So, I mean, nothing super revealing, but again, interesting to see and really great to see. Something I've been saying since the beginning of the announcement of FanDome is how just the acknowledgement that DC is the crown jewel of the Warner media empire. Leverage it every way you can. Engage the fans. We're your best advocates. And FanDome was a great step in that direction, and then they saw the results, and that just leads to more success. It's interesting that she's like, yeah, everybody started watching DC movies on HBO Max after this, which, yeah, it makes sense. I know after FanDome, I was in the mood to watch them.
Yeah, I was watching them all weekend. I think it's a smart move. Since Potter has kind of gone quiet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, I know obviously they've still got the Fantastic Beasts franchise, but it's not the same thing. And that last movie burnt a lot of longtime fans. Even Jess is a massive Harry Potter fan, and she hated that last Fantastic Beasts movie. DC is it's going to be their moneymaker, and it's really good that they're. Obviously, we know the checkered history of the last couple of years that we don't need to go into, but I don't know. I kind of feel like finally. I even feel nervous saying it because I know we've felt it previously, but I think finally they might have their shit together, and I think the future's going to be positive.
Yeah. I hope you're right. We shall see. But anyway, exciting. It's exciting to see that. And of course, after what FanDome did, they're going to commit to more. But they get another chance to do that in a week's time. So I thought it was worth looking at the schedule for what's coming up in just about a week as far as what this day 2 looks like. I don't know about you. I'm not planning on staying up all night again.
No, I'm gonna catch them on rerun, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, some things here. Let's check it out. They're doing another Ask Harley, uncensored, which was really fun and cool. So they're doing a League of One, the Dwayne McDuffie story. So is that a documentary about Dwayne McDuffie? That's cool.
It looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's cool. All Supervillains panel. Interesting. Females of color within the DC universe. I wonder if that's a rerun of what we saw last time, or if that's something new.
Yeah, I'm not too sure with that. The thing I'm looking at too, have you noticed that everything just kind of says the one time, like for me, 3 a.m.?
Yeah, right now it all says the same time, so yeah, that threw me off too. So maybe they've got to update it again to show like the order of things, but yeah.
Yeah.
Batman Joker War, so that's about the current comic run that's happening, which I've really been enjoying, but I've seen some folks on Twitter who have not been enjoying it, which is interesting, but I've really been liking it.
Sound like Twitter?
Oh, weird. I know. So, I mean, day 2, this is really going to be a lot more about TV and comics. And so, yeah, this is really jumping into the comics here. But I think it'll be interesting. I talk about how much I love James Tynion as a writer, and so it'll be interesting to hear him talk about this. But I've been enjoying Joker War. The next one is Batman 3 Jokers, which we just got the first issue of last week.
Yeah, this I'm keen to check out, because I was not that interested in reading 3 Jokers, and you were like, no, it's really good. I ended up grabbing it on Comixology, and man, you were right. It's
great.
Bloody awesome.
Yeah,
it was really
good.
good. So I'm keen to check out this panel.
Yeah, me too. It's really cool. So, yep, that'll be interesting. Batwoman panel. So we got like a little tease of Batwoman on day 1, but here we're going to really dive in and probably get to know the new Batwoman. Black Lightning panel. So again, yeah, lots of TV, second day. So most of the DC shows are here. So Black Lightning. This is interesting. A panel that's Brazil loves DC.
For the glory of the fans, yeah. That's, yeah.
So like we said,
not sure
like they're really leaning into the global fandom of the DC universe. Creating Heroes, the Life and Art of Jim Lee screening. So if it's a screening, I assume that's some sort of documentary about Jim Lee.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more Jim Lee too on the day if it's anything like the first week.
That dude had to have been exhausted.
Yeah. I just saw what's coming up.
Wait.
Thing. Yeah.
They're doing a South Africa panel, and then after that, they're doing DC Down Under.
How I am not on this panel?
You're not?
I don't know. No, but I'm just looking. This is new. This has been added because this wasn't originally in the schedule from when it was just meant to be on the 22nd.
Oh man. Well,
because I don't remember seeing this.
Maybe they're trying to get a hold of you. Check your spam folder.
Yeah, Brenton Thwaites, Nicholas Scott, Tom Taylor, Boss Logic, Tioma Morrison. Yeah, that's
Brendan Lowe.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look, there's still time to pre-record me and slot me in.
He's available and willing.
Yeah.
All right, they're doing a panel about the Batman Death in the Family DC animated short film or interactive film. So that'll be cool.
Yep, keen for that.
Legends of Tomorrow panel, of course.
Still like that show. It's really good.
Me too. I need to catch up on it now that this past season is wrapped up, so I need to finally go back. I kind of lost track of it, but yeah, I love it. And so
it's a hoot.
Now is a good time. DC Stargirl panel, of course. Which we both loved season 1, yeah. Mm-hmm. Deathstroke Knights and Dragons panels. That's the new Deathstroke animated movie, which also I have not had a chance to see.
I still haven't seen it. I've had access to it for a little while, but I still have not had a chance to watch it yet. I need to get onto that, actually. I'll try and watch it before the weekend.
All right. Well, let me know. I'll check it out eventually. It's just I'll wait for it to hit DC Universe or go on sale, and then I'll buy it. But I have not checked it out yet. Discover DC in Japan. So yeah, like there are a lot of these regional, global panels of celebrating DC all over the world, which is kind of cool. The Doom Patrol panel, that's exciting. Here's hoping they announce another season.
Hopefully, yeah.
Which it's one of those things where it's like everyone kind of assumes the next season, and the way season 2 ended, they kind of have to. But yeah, I guess it's just not confirmed yet.
No, I haven't heard anything.
Okay. From the Middle East to DC with Love. So yep, another global panel. You Brought Me the Ocean with Alex Sanchez. I don't know what that is.
I know, though I have no idea.
I mean, I could click on it and see what it says.
It's about a young adult graphic novel.
Yep, join members from the esteemed LGBTQ plus youth organization Gilson as they discuss DC's acclaimed young adult graphic novel You Brought Me the Ocean. All right. I haven't heard of it. I'm unaware, so apologies. Not familiar with that. Game On, Venus Williams and Jim Lee. That was the other thing. We didn't even mention that about FanDome Day 1 is lots of Venus Williams.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Yeah, like she popped up multiple times. Great Big Story, Magic Wheelchair. All right. Harley Quinn panel.
That one I'm looking forward to. Season 3, please.
I know. Fingers crossed. I'm Latinx. What's your superpower? All right. Immortal Vigilante, Hooded Justice screening.
Excellent.
Injustice 2 show match, Latin America / Brazil. Okay. And that's followed, it seems like, by Inside Injustice, making the hit games and comics. So for Injustice fans, there you go. And Italy Loves DC panel. So yeah, they're trying to get us all over the world. John Ridley and the Other History of the DC Universe. And John Ridley was the guy who's going to write the new Black Batman book, right?
That's right, yeah.
So an inside look of the November 2020 miniseries, The Other History of the DC Universe, which presents an alternate look at the DC Universe through the eyes of its superheroes of color. So I think we'll get kind of we'll get kind of a feel for what he's going for. Latin America celebrates DC. Legacy of the Bat panel extended. So it seems like that is an extended cut of what we saw during day 1.
Okay. See, I'm just looking at this, like, I'm wondering how this is going to play out, if you're going to be able to choose what you watch. Because, like, I was just looking at the Latin America Loves DC panel, just for instance, like, it goes for 155 minutes.
That seems odd.
Like, this panel is in Spanish with English subtitles only, 155 minutes. Like, that's a long time.
Yeah. Huh. That's weird. Because, yeah, the ones I've been clicking on have been like 20 minutes, which is kind of like what it was last time. But
because this is a lot. Like, this is a longer schedule than
that's true.
The first one. Like, this is going to be hours upon hours of stuff. I'm hoping it'll be like you can just choose what you want to look at.
Yeah. A Legion of Superheroes panel. It looks like it's tied to the old show, the animated series, that I only watched a little bit of it. Oh, it's because the complete series has arrived on Blu-ray, and so the stars and showrunners will reminisce about the 2006 to 2008 series. Okay, cool. I watched a little bit of that series, and I liked it, but I've never watched the whole thing, so it's something I always kind of mean to get back to.
Okay. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever seen any of it.
Yeah, I liked it. I was going to say, I think it's on DC Universe, but sorry. Live Like a DC Superhero in Spain. Then Lucifer gets his panel. A panel about deceased, so mostly deceased panel.
I need to get back into that. I read the first run from like a year or so ago, and I quite liked it, but I haven't kept up with it.
Yeah, I haven't even started it, so it's one of those that I mean to get to. New Voices of Wonder Woman panel. I'm just going to click on it because I'm curious.
Looks like it's writers,
author,
writers.
illustrator, and writers and artists as they discuss Wonder Woman's enduring legacy. Okay. I thought it literally meant voices.
Oh, I thought maybe Rachel was in there.
Exactly. I was like, is Rachel Kimsey going to be there? Pennyworth panel just for you, Brendan.
Yep. Can't wait. Want information on season 2, please.
There you go. Another real-life superheroes panel, the story of Muckle mannequins in Germany. I am not familiar with that.
Oh, it looks like kind of like a Madame Tussauds sort of thing.
Ah, okay. Reintroducing Nubia, the Black Amazonian Queen. That's cool. Rendezvous with DC France. So there you go. Static Shock episode screening. Superman and Lois panel for the new series.
Very keen, yes. Superman,
an enduring symbol of hope panel. Superman Man of Tomorrow panel. And then Superman Man of Tomorrow world premiere. So I'll just
now.
Well, that's true. But I will just say that the one big complaint I saw from some people, especially Stephen Marshall, was that FanDome Day 1 didn't have enough Superman. And it seems like here it is. Yep. Here. Yeah. Well, but here it is. Superman and Lois, Superman an enduring symbol of hope, Superman Man of Tomorrow. You jump forward, the Creative Coalition Superman radio show.
Yes.
There's another one, Truth, Justice, and the DC Comics Way.
They can't be doing this like just as a run through like they did the first week. There's so many.
Yeah, you're right. This is way more than 8 hours of content, so it'll be really interesting to see how all this.
And they've
works.
added so many things that weren't in the original run when it was announced. Like when we did the preview show the week before the first event, and then they split it. Like there's stuff in here that just didn't exist.
Yeah, for sure. The expansion of DC's Watchmen universe, that's interesting. Extended versions of the Flash panel and Titans panel, so I'm assuming it's what we saw, but just more of it. What else? Young Justice cast audio play. Interesting. And then DC in Canada. And, Ziggy Marley live performance.
There's another Watchmen panel in there as well, Watchmen Unmasked.
Oh, all right. Yep, there you go. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. There's so much. It seems like maybe some of it will be more on demand. Like it'll all be available for 8 hours and you can just click and watch what you want, maybe? It'll be interesting to see.
This Watchmen Unmasked, it looks like it's about the Damon Lindelof show.
Oh, cool.
Which I'll just add.
You just finished, right?
Sake of Prosperity. I watched it this week. Yeah, it's really good.
We told you, man.
I finally got to it. Yeah,
it's so great.
It's a great show. Loved it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, very cool. All right. Well, lots of stuff here. Of course, you can just go to dcfandome.com and check out the schedule. You're right. This is more than 8 hours worth of stuff, so that'll be interesting. But of all of this, what jumps out to you, Brendan? What are you looking forward to most?
Let me go back. I think, well, obviously, the Harley Quinn panel.
Obviously.
Batman 3 Jokers. I'm keen for. The death in the family, because I just want to find out more about how this thing's actually going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Legends and Stargirl. I'm keen to check out. Where are we? The Deceased stuff I'm keen to have a look at. A Legacy of the Bat panel. But Pennyworth, the Lois, Superman and Lois panel. I'm keen to see the panel for Man of Tomorrow because I have seen the movie already. Plus, just the Superman, an enduring symbol of hope, would be worth a look. Flash and Titans I'll check out as well. But I mean, for me, it's got to be DC Down Under. That's got to be top spot.
Obviously, I mean, for sure. It's all Captain Boomerang. That's what it is. They're going to discuss Captain Boomerang for 2 full hours. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you mostly here. Like, yeah, things that really jumped out to me: Doom Patrol, of course, Harley Quinn. I would say Titans, but like again, I feel like we probably already got the highlights of that. So it'll be interesting to see what new stuff is in day 2. But yeah, the death in the family, really looking forward to that. Definitely looking forward to more info about Superman and Lois. I'm just kind of scrolling and seeing what else maybe I forgot to say.
I was just having a look, because remember when we were originally looking at this, there was the theme park stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I've just had a look at Funverse, and it's a bit different. I'm not seeing the thing about the Warner Brothers world in, is it Dubai?
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi. I always get those two confused. But
they're not far from each other.
They do have like Amusement Mile now, where you can take virtual rides on, like, there's Batman Dark Flight from Macau, Superman the Ride.
That's awesome. I'm looking at that too.
Lasso. Yeah.
The Batman Dark Flight thing, I've been wanting to get to Macau just to ride that. And I think that it recently closed, which breaks my heart. But yes, I'm definitely going to do that. I'm going to check that out. I've ridden the Superman the Ride at Six Flags Great America, but still. That's so cool, though.
Because I know there was that feature about the Batmobile as well that I wanted to see, because it featured my mate Zach with his Batmobile from Australia. Just sort of flicking through like what's the U-verse? Cosplay.
Oh, here it is. It's an Insiderverse. No?
Oh, okay.
Maybe? There's something that says the new Batmobile. No?
No.
Wow.
I think it was just called the Batmobile, but yeah, they've changed a lot of this from what it was. I didn't realize that. Like Hall of Heroes is what we saw.
Oh, this looks like Insiderverse looks like almost like old featurettes or DVD extras, like for people who are just wanting to check out extra stuff. So yeah, there's like production design of DC Film Universe. Yeah. Pilot episodes of shows and stuff. So okay, so that stuff's not as timely, but for people who want to really get into it and see extra stuff, there's more of it here.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, further down there, like you've got that Sleek, Sexy, and Sinister, the costumes of Batman Returns.
Mm-hmm.
That we talked about. Yeah, the Batmobile thing is in here. It's this gripping, fascinating documentary powers through the history and evolution of the Batmobile in television, film, comics, blah blah blah. And those who truly appreciate the connection between fans and the iconic machine. Because the original thumbnail they had for that was, it actually featured the guy who has the Batmobile here in Australia.
Oh, cool. Visualizing Gotham, production design of Batman. That's cool. There's a lot of cool random stuff in here. Again, it seems to be more focused on less timely things, but that's still really neat.
Watchmen becoming Sister Knight. Yeah, there's a heap of stuff in here.
Yeah.
Again, they've added so much stuff to this.
The creation and impact of the Dark Knight trilogy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Well, I won't be getting up at 3 a.m. again, but it does appear that next Sunday is going to be pretty chockers.
Yeah, I think it's like when I wake up on Sunday, I'll go on and see what I can see.
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet. All right. Well, there you go. There's a little sneak peek of DC FanDome Day 2. Just when you thought it was over, there's more coming. Stuff to look forward to.
And I am here for it.
Heck yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, there you go. Some good news, some bad news, some in-between news. Such is the life of being a DC fan. But let's check in with you, DC fans, and crack open the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's time again for the Wayne Manor mailbox.
You've got mail.
Darren, what is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger. This is all, Master Wayne.
Okie dokie. This one is from our pal Marcio, a Peruvian in the UK. That's what he always says. So he says, "Hey, Bat Family. Quick note to say that I love FanDome, even the fillers, as they let me take a break and talk to people. In the UK, it started at 6:30 p.m. and finished at 2 a.m., so not so bad. And with a newborn, I was up anyway. Thanks for finding the time to do the podcast afterwards. Keep the high going after it finished. Question: with everyone using DC films to do their own takes on classic characters, what do you think it makes something canon? Does it have to appear on the comic first to be canon, or just be popular enough, or need someone at DC Comics to actually say this is canon? Is there anything you'd like to be canon that currently isn't? Like if Robin, that is a police officer, but never wears a costume, should be canon. Only joking. My real answer probably is Bruce training with Zatara. I love the idea of him training with older classic DC heroes. Thanks for the content. Stay safe. P.S. I'm all on board with the Batman after seeing the trailer. I love the murder mystery, scary feel of it. Marcio. Thanks, Marcio. All right, so interesting question, Brendan. Like, what do you think makes something canon? And is there anything that's not canon that you wish was?
That's a really good question.
I know, it really is.
It's the really good ones that I never have an answer for because I really need to think about it.
Stop asking hard and thoughtful questions. Just ask me my favorite Batman costume. Make it simple.
Or ask if a movie would be different if it was completely different. I don't. I mean, in terms of what I'd like to see canon, it's kind of hard to say. In terms of what makes something canon, I guess it's up to the creative team. Like, I mean, I guess the Killing Joke, for example, wasn't intended to be canon. It was kind of like a one-off thing. And then they put Barbara in a wheelchair, so... I mean, it's sort of technically now, isn't Watchmen canon with the DC universe?
I guess so, yeah.
So, I mean... I guess it just comes down to the creative team and what teams and what they choose to do. It's... Yeah, I mean, there were things that I wish weren't canon. I could probably give you more of those than things that I wish were. First one being Damien, of course. Piss him off and just have Tim back as the main Robin and pretend the last 12 years have never happened. But
did you see that Tim has taken his place as Robin again in the comics? I haven't read it. I haven't read it yet, so I can't get too deep into it. But I did see it because our pal Rob over at Everyone Loves the Drake, he posted about it, and I was like, oh, great, because I guess Damien was throwing a tantrum as he does, and he quit and he ran off and whatever. Bye, Damien. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yep.
And so Tim, I guess, adopted his old costume, and he joined Batman, and he's Robin again. So who knows how long it'll last? My guess is not very long, but as I predicted, that whole Drake persona, that came and went pretty quick.
Yeah, again, as you know, I haven't been current on the comics for a while, and it's sort of...
Well, it's because you're not a real fan.
Well, it's because
you don't give a shit.
It's hard to dive... It's hard to get a point to dive back in. And I tried at Rebirth, and it was just the same old story. Like, I just fell that far behind. It's too much effort now. I'm just like, I'll cherry pick graphic novels and stuff and, stories and everything to read. It's fine. But yeah, that's a really good question. That's something I'd like. I don't know. Everything for Batman animated series, make it canon. Just make that the Batman canon. Get rid of everything else.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really tough question, but I think that the first point is that there are multiple canons. So there's comic book canon, and then there's Batman the Animated Series canon, and then there's the Dark Knight Trilogy canon, and they're all their own self-contained canon. But I think
canon too. That's a whole different kettle of fish.
I mean, but they also tend to try to state, especially in comic books, but oh yeah, this isn't really in the main continuity. It's its own thing. It's a what if, whatever. That's the whole idea of Elseworlds. But even some things that aren't Elseworlds are very obviously not canon. But I think that when something happens, an event, if you will, happens in multiple media, For example, the Joker paralyzes Barbara Gordon. That started in the comics. It made its way into main continuity. It happened in the Birds of Prey show. It has happened in multiple places. You kind of go, well, yeah, that's got to be canon because it's consistent from version to version. So that event had to have happened, right? And so I think that helps, but in the end, does it really matter? I go back to that episode of The Simpsons where Bart said something to the comic book guy about, Superman fighting Muhammad Ali, and comic book guy goes, oh, that was a special issue. It was on its own. It never really happened. And Bart goes, well, none of it ever really happened. So yeah, I mean, I think that if you want a canon, you kind of go by the rule set in the medium that you're looking at, whether that be a trilogy of films or a TV show or a comic book, you kind of go by those rules. But 80 plus years of comic books, man, there's so much crap, and technically it's all canon, I guess, but you can kind of pick and choose as you want, because at this point, it's just like a huge tangled ball of Christmas lights.
That's true.
As for anything that's not canon that I wish were canon, not that I can think of, I'm not really sure. I don't know. I'd have to think more about that. But good question and a tricky one. So thanks, Marcio. All right, next message is from David Wang. It says, hey, Holy BatCast. I hope this message isn't too long. First, some notes about Batman Beyond. In the beginning of Season 3, there's an episode called Out of the Past. On the off chance you haven't heard of it before, I sure hope Jamie does not miss this episode. I agree with you, David. I know which one you're talking about, and yes, I want Jamie to be there for that too. A bit of trivia, Batman Beyond has its own spin-off series called The Zeta Project, and Bruce Wayne is in one episode, which means that Bruce Wayne, voiced by Kevin Conroy, is in all of the DC AU shows at least once. So Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, Static Shock are the others. All right. The Zeta Project. I have not heard of that. I don't even know where that is. Either. Yeah. He talks about the Snyder Cut trailer where he says, I want to know what's happening in the cyan-colored Justice League scene at about 1:39, where a group of people are surrounded by light and there seems to be things flying above them. Any theories? My guess is these are Dr. Stone and his fellow kidnapped scientist, and that's the Flash running around them. Gosh, I don't even remember that. Do you remember that, Brendan? I don't remember that shot.
No.
I guess I'd have to go back and look.
For a little while. I just looked up the Zeta Project, though. It's, a robot rebels against its creators, refusing to kill, and goes on the run. And it is a DC show, but I'd never heard of it.
Yeah. David, I'm going to first say, yes, this is too long, so I'm going to pick and choose. So he says, my hype level for the Batman has gone up more than it was before, but I think that's due to Zack Snyder's Justice League being confirmed. Previously, Ben Affleck's Batman's final outing was the theatrical version, and then he went from starring in Matt Reeves' Batman films to Matt Reeves doing it without him. To me, even if Matt Reeves' Batman film did dial up the fantastical, it still would have smelled like a hostile takeover, but it's okay now. Speaking of which, with Batman being on his own Earth, what do you think if future directors made films of lesser-known, partially grounded DC characters in that universe, like The Question or Blue Beetle? Okay, he does it beat by beat. David, you can't do this. It's a beat by beat rundown of the trailer. Anyway, he says, personally, Matt Reeves' approach is as much as going back to Burton as it is to Nolan. It's grounded, but the city atmosphere seems to be going back to Batman 89 and Batman Returns. Wonderful show as usual, David. Thanks, David. Okay, that last point, I have seen nothing in the trailer or footage that evokes Tim Burton's Batman.
Yeah, I don't think so. It like I said before, it really reminds me of Batman Begins more than anything.
Yeah. But okay, this is the question I thought was interesting. Is like, if this is kind of a grounded, real world corner of the DC universe, it's its own. What if some of the more grounded DC characters could coexist in that, like the Question or Blue Beetle? I know you're a big Question fan, Brendan.
I love the Question. So if we got a live action Question movie or show, I would be very happy and I would watch the shit out of it.
I mean, I like the idea. I mean, almost like Batman the Animated Series, where it brought in some characters that didn't feel too out of the realm of possibility, like Zatanna, even the Creeper. Yeah, I like the idea of expanding that little universe and going a little bit outside of Batman's world, but with just characters that make sense. Who knows if it would happen, but I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, thanks for the message, David. Next one up is Matt Wheeler. It says, for starters, I'm excited about everything coming up. I'm in agreement with the opinion that Batfleck will make his departure at the end of the Flash movie, being replaced by Michael Keaton, which excites me. However, I'd love it if the Flashpoint causes Matt Reeves' Batman to become part of the DCEU canon instead of Keaton. That way we have a young, active Batman who's capable of being in the field with the Justice League instead of an older mentor. And we still get the development of Pattinson's Gotham. I know it's supposed to be its own universe, but hey, I can dream. It's crazy how the Batman went from being a continuation of Batfleck's story into being its own universe. Anyway, stay healthy, your friend and listener, Matt Wheeler. Thanks, Matt. Cool. I mean, I think that would be cool. I think that is certainly, you could do that. You could use Flashpoint to bring in Robert Pattinson's Batman. It just seems to me that Matt Reeves doesn't want to do that. He just kind of wants his own little playground to create his Batman universe. So I think they're allowing him to do that. I see both sides, honestly. I see both. What about you, Brendan?
I agree, but I will also say never.
That is true. You're right. Like, a couple movies down the line, if there's precedent with the Flash movie that you can do it and audiences will go with it, you're right. It could happen. I mean, it's kind of like the TV show when Black Lightning started, and they're like, nope, it's Black Lightning's in its own universe. He's not going to cross over. And I was like, yeah, sure, Jan.
Yeah. There's
and
no
sure
reason
enough,
not to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look,
So,
if the Reeves franchise is doing really, really well, and you know the original DCEU continuity, whatever you want to call it, they're still doing really, really well. You know, and if they need to have a Batman in that universe, which it can't really be a complete DC, EU without a Batman. I know Michael Keaton would be there. I get that, but yeah, it would be great if it makes sense and if it could really work. I wouldn't want them to, to sort of shoehorn it or force it. But if it was a way to do it naturally and it fit in really well, then yeah, of course I'd be all for it.
yeah, absolutely. All right, moving forward, next message is from Steven. It says, hey guys, someone asked a good question on your last episode about what 3 things would you like or not like to see in the Batman. I can tell you one thing that I wouldn't like to see, and it's another interpretation of the death of the Waynes. I felt like Snyder's version was the best with Zimmer's score, but by then it was played out, and then seeing it again in Joker, I felt like they snuck it in the last few moments when they could have just cut away before the actual shooting, and it would have had just as much impact. What do you think? Will Reeves do his own version? Will we see it play out again, or just be a part of the overall story? Everyone and their grandmother knows how Bruce's origin happens. And lastly, what I'd like to see is a more traditional suit and Batmobile by the end of the movie. Excuse the long email. Thanks, guys. Bat hangers forever, Steven. Thanks, Steven. And oh my God, I haven't heard bat hangers in so long. I miss it.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I miss it. All right. Well, great. Thanks, Steven. Okay. Question. I mean, first of all, I think that that Jamie, Brendan, and myself agree with you about getting a upgrade to the suit and Batmobile by the end of the film. We're with you on that. But what do you think about the death of the Waynes? Brendan, you think it's going to be there?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised either way. If he chose not to show it, I would totally understand. And it wouldn't bother me at all. But at the same time, if he chose to show it, I would totally understand and it wouldn't bother me at all.
Yeah. I retweeted something a couple weeks ago that made me laugh so hard. It was some random guy. I don't even know who he was. But he said, something I've always wondered is like, how did Batman become Batman? Did he have parents? Like, what happened?
I must have missed that. That's really good.
God, it killed me. It was so funny. So point taken. Of course, everybody knows how the Waynes were killed. But here's the thing. It is such an iconic moment in the Batman mythos that much like every new filmmaker wants to put their stamp on the Batsuit and the Batmobile and the Batcave. Like, they want to do their versions of that. I also think every filmmaker wants to do their version of the death of the Waynes. Like, put their stamp on it. So, yes, I expect to see it in one way or another because I think that, as a storyteller, Matt Reeves is like, well, I want to do it how I see it, just like Zack Snyder did it the way he sees it. So I understand the whole thing of like, do we need to see it again? Of course not. We all know what happened. But I get it from a filmmaker's perspective, wanting to do his version. Yeah, I get that too.
Yeah.
All right, next message is from Scott Brown. It says, hey guys, I wanted to say that I agree that the filmmakers for The Flash are talented enough to figure out how to work in two Batmen and still make a Flash story. But I also think it makes a lot of sense from a film structure standpoint. While a seasoned Flash is no slouch in a fight, this Flash will be green and unskilled in combat. So he's probably going to be doing a lot of running and not much else. Unlike the excitement that comes with following Superman as he flies, or Batman as he chases criminals in the Batmobile, following Flash as he runs really fast sounds kind of boring. For that reason, there's probably going to be chunks of the movie where other characters, like one of the Batmen, are doing something more interesting on screen, while Flash is running to another timeline or something off screen. Thoughts? Scott, thank you for the message. What do you think, Brendan, on Scott's theory of maybe the Batmen are going to help, I guess, amp up the action because this Flash is still figuring things out?
I've never thought of it that way, but it's not wrong. Yeah, I mean, the other thing is too, it's going to depend on what happens maybe in the Snyder Cut of Justice League as well. And again, talking about things being canon,
right?
If that will become sort of the canon for that series, and I don't know, but I mean, yeah, I mean, the Flash is a very exciting character to watch, but yeah, he's right. This version of the Flash doesn't know how to do all that stuff yet, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's an interesting point. I almost like the idea of Batman helping teach the Flash a little bit, because this is a Flash, he's not really a fighter yet. But, I think he's getting there, and to your point, in Justice League, maybe he gets there even further than what we saw in the theatrical cut. So yeah, I think there's maybe something there, but I still want to see Flash do more than run, so I hope that they've got plans for that. All right, next message is from our pal Stephen Marshall. Apparently, you've got to be named Stephen or Scott if you're emailing us this week. All right, so he says, hey guys, it's been a while. I hope you're doing well. I've got a couple questions, one of which is, of course, about Superman. Wink, of course. Of course. We expect nothing less from you, Stephen. He says, number one, did you see the CW superhero promo that teased Superman and Lois? There wasn't any new footage, but they did have some new dialogue and what appears to be a new theme. What did you think? Number two, Batman feels overdue for a new animated series. If they were to create a new animated series, what direction would you like to see it go in? Idea I had would be Batman that travels across the multiverse, meeting different incarnations of Batman and other DC characters. Lastly, aside from any upcoming films we've seen footage from, which DC movie are you most excited for? Thanks, guys. Kind regards, Steven. All right, Steven, always a pleasure. So I didn't see the promo of Superman and Lois. Did you?
No, I haven't seen that either.
I guess I'll probably see it during FanDome Day 2.
Yeah, most likely.
We'll let you know. A new Batman animated series. I feel like I've answered this in the past, but I'll answer it again. I want it to be a Bat Family animated series in the animation style of Young Justice, but set in Gotham and really diving into Batman's corner of the DC universe. But it's Batman and Robin and Nightwing and Batgirl taking on the rogues in Gotham City, and just like make it a full-fledged Bat family show.
I would watch the shit out of that.
Yeah, I mean, you can do Nightwing episodes and Batgirl episodes and Robin episodes and Batman episodes, and so like I don't know, Batwoman, bring her in season 2. Like, who cares? Like, I think that would be great.
I mean, my answer is going to be boring and not unexpected at all, but I'd love a reboot of Batman the Animated Series. You can't get any better, in my opinion. And like, I've just finished, actually this afternoon, I finished catching up on Batman the Adventure Continues. Have you been reading that still?
I think I'm caught up. There might be one left, but I'm pretty caught up. Yes, I've been reading it.
Yeah, because there's 11 issues of it, and I've caught up, and it's really good. I mean, they're exploring
I really like
things
it.
that they never explored on that show, but putting their spin on it. Like, John Paul Valley's been in there, like the stuff that they're up to at the moment. Like, they're really deep into introducing Jason Todd into that world, and I mean, that'd be cool to see it, like them sort of expand the animated series universe. And I mean, even if you were to do it on, like, say, a DC universe, or it'd be HBO Max, I guess, where you could, not to the extent of, say, Harley Quinn, like with violence and everything, but it wouldn't need to be as kid friendly.
Yeah.
Just that little bit darker, a little bit more violent, bit edgier, but I mean, it's still the thing that everyone comes back to. And I mean, yeah, some of the voice cast have passed on, but they're minor characters. All your major characters are still alive, and
we know Eric Bauza can fill in for literally anyone.
Yeah, that's true. So I mean, yeah, I'd love to see a continuation of that world. I mean, they kind of touched on it with Batman and Harley Quinn, but it was a comedy that was all out and out comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So they've teased it a bit, but just go all in. Just give us a continuation of that.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then aside from any upcoming films that we've seen footage from, which DC movie are you most excited for? So, ones that we have not seen footage for. So, would that be Black Adam, The Flash,
Shazam 2, Shazam 2, and The Flash? Yeah.
Aquaman 2. For me, it would be The Flash above all those. Yeah, The Flash. I'm excited about it.
Is that cheating?
Well, yes, but you're not wrong.
Yeah. I mean, out of those ones, my least anticipated would be Black Adam, just because I don't think I'm alone in saying I don't really know that much about the character, and if it weren't The Rock wanting to play him, I doubt we'd be getting a solo Black Adam movie.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I'm definitely keen to check it out, though, and the fact that they're going to go the JSA route, that's the hook for me with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right, moving forward, this is from Tom Fallows. He says, hey guys, with Matt Reeves saying that the Batman will be more the rise of the villains, do you think we could see the Joker seated in the movie? Like have an unnamed thug fall into a vat of chemicals at one point and then have him come back in the next film. Also, later this month, filming shall commence in Liverpool. Unfortunately, they won't be using local talent for extras to stop the spread of COVID-19, so you won't see me in a Batman film. Stay safe, guys. Tom Fallows, Gotham City. I'm sorry, Tom. That's a bummer. I mean,
Well,
still
plan,
go to...
The plan hasn't worked out well for him so far. So.
That's true. This is true. Maybe it's for the best.
Yeah.
Enjoy it as a fan. I feel like we sort of kind of were asked this before, but what do you think, Brendan? Do you think that Matt Reeves could hint at or set up the Joker in this film?
I mean, of course he could. Whether he will, I don't know. I mean, yeah, if he wants to tell if any filmmaker wants to tell a complete Batman story over a series of movies, you have to introduce the Joker at some point. You just do. So whether it's seated in the first movie or it's something I think we've sort of said before, like I'd hold off seating it until the second movie and the climax of a trilogy be the Joker. That's the way I'd do it, but Who knows? I'm sure he'll pop up at some point when Reeves thinks it's the right time.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, could he? Of course he could. Will he? I'd say maybe better than even chance. I don't know if it will be as overt as that, as like, oh, the, kind of the origin happening in the background. I don't think it necessarily will be that, but I could see something, a line of dialogue, about the legend of the clown out there. Something like that, where that implies that the Joker is out there, or the Joker is, or they just heard about some new one emerging, like something like that, where they acknowledge the character and kind of go, okay, that's coming, but without truly, going all in on it this time.
I mean, if you wanted to do something really different, you could seed maybe the Red Hood character or the Red Hood gang or something, particularly with Zero Year being an influence. That's a possibility.
Yeah. That'll be really interesting. All right, next message is from Ro G. It says, hey, just an observation I'd like to make about Batman. It took me a long time to figure this out, but when one really thinks about it, there is another meaning to the word Batman. It also fits perfectly with Bruce Wayne and his relationship with Jim Gordon. Some may not know this, but Batman is historically known to be the junior aide to a military officer during a time of war. Gotham is basically a war zone. Jim Gordon, a former soldier, can easily be seen as the officer trying to keep the peace and win the war against crime, and Bruce is his self-appointed aide coming to assist him in the fight. So regardless of how Bruce Wayne chooses to disguise himself, he is for all intents and purposes Commissioner Gordon's Batman.
That's really interesting.
I've never heard the term Batman as a junior aide to a military officer. That's new information for me.
It's really cool, though.
Yeah, I like it. Interesting observation. Thanks for sharing it with us. But yeah, I had no idea. So cool. The more you know. Thanks, Ro. All right, next message from Jacob. It says, hey, Holy BatCast. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I know I may be way off base. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like none of you like the new Batmobile. LOL. So say you're about to go fight crime or go to the clubs or whatever you prefer, and the Tim Burton Batmobile's in the shop, which other Batmobile do you take? I personally am intrigued by this take on the Batmobile. I think it'll be interesting to see him develop it into what will be the Batmobile, because I don't think this is the final form. Anyway, I hope you enjoy Labor Day weekend. Take care, Jacob. Thanks, Jacob. Doesn't really seem like a question, but you're not wrong. None of us love the design of the new Batmobile. And so what I will say is I agree with you. I hope that this is like Batmobile number 0, and then it becomes Batmobile number 1.
Yeah. I mean, people know our thoughts on it. We're not too crash hard on it. I did. If you haven't seen from the last episode how I mentioned the movie or Batmobile quite a bit, I did actually post some photos on Twitter, and a lot of people were like, "Man, that's really cool." I'm like, "Yes, it is. It looks like a Batmobile."
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not trying to harp on it. It is what it is. Let Matt Reeves do his thing, but it doesn't mean I have to like every choice he makes. But I'm still willing to see what happens in the movie, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, agreed. I'm just trying to think which one I'd choose if the Burton one's in the shop.
Oh. If the Burton one is in the shop, I would take the Bat Cycle. And you could be in the little sidecar, the little Robin sidecar.
I mean, obviously a big part of me wants to say the Batman Forever Batmobile. But I also kind of want to cruise around in the Tumbler as well. So one of those two, yeah.
All right. I'd say you could get drive-through in the Batman Forever one, but I think you would rip off the roof of the drive-through with that fin.
Yeah, the fin, yeah. Maybe that's why it splits, because then it goes down lower. Maybe that's drive-through mode. I don't know.
Could be. All right, one last message here from our pal Tanishk. It says, hey guys, I loved everything that I saw and heard about the Batman except for one thing. Matt Reeves mentioned that the corruption in Gotham is tied to Bruce Wayne. I hope they don't make Thomas and Martha evil or corrupt. Maybe his grandfather or great-grandfather. No problem, but Thomas and Martha Wayne were good people who instilled good values in Bruce and worked for the betterment of Gotham citizens. This aspect was touched slightly in Batman Begins. Regarding famous fictional characters, some things shouldn't be changed. I love Man of Steel, but Pa Kent's Maybe line and his tornado death were really bad. What are your thoughts? Second question, not Batman related, but have you guys ever seen a Bollywood movie? Keep up the good work. May Bat blessings be with you. Tanishq. Thanks, Tanishq. Brendan, what do you think about Thomas and Martha Wayne and the potential for them having maybe a checkered past?
Oh, it's a tough one. Is it a choice I would make? No. It all depends on a level of involvement, or if it's more they were working against the corruption. I don't know. It's hard. It's not something I would deliberately want to see or something that I would do, but happy to give it the benefit of the doubt just to see where it goes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with Tanishq as well. Like in Batman Telltale, like that was a big part of the story, is that Thomas Wayne was not as squeaky clean as we all thought, and Bruce kind of uncovers some secrets where Thomas Wayne did some not great things. And I was only able to kind of make peace with it because it was, to go back to the very first question, it wasn't canon, where I can go, okay, this is its own thing. They're doing something different. I respect that. Like, do your thing. And so that allowed me to be okay with it. But I agree. I much prefer where Thomas and Martha Wayne were good people. They did what they could to try to help the city. It just wasn't enough in a place as bad as Gotham. And it might have gotten them killed. I like that. I think there is a way to do this where Thomas and Martha Wayne were not evil or corrupt, but maybe they were blissfully ignorant of the troubles of Gotham, and that almost made them complicit, but unintentionally. I think that could be an interesting angle, and that I would be okay with because they're rich. Like they don't... they live in Wayne Manor on the hill. He works at the hospital. She polishes her pearls all day. This is what they do. And so they're just out of touch and don't understand the corruption of Gotham. And maybe that's what the Riddler is alluding to. And if so, that I think I'm okay with because I think that's interesting and different. But I don't like the idea of Thomas Wayne being some sort of dirty conspirator who was, laundering money or having deals with the mob and all this stuff. I don't think I would like that angle either. So I hope it doesn't go that far.
Something I just thought of while you were talking, and I guess this is an easy way to explain it too. One of my least favorite parts of Joker was the portrayal of Thomas Wayne.
Yes, I agree. Yep. Because I like Thomas Wayne. Thomas Wayne is a good man, or should be a good man. So I didn't like that he was kind of an a-hole in Joker. And I didn't, in Telltale, it did take me back where they were like, oh, and Thomas Wayne, not such a good guy. And I was like, oh, come on. Like, why?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see how it plays out. But I do share your concern. I get that. Have you ever seen a Bollywood movie?
I haven't. No.
I've never seen one in its entirety, but I've seen many clips of them because I love Indian food. And at my last job in LA, there was an Indian restaurant just down the street, and we would go there for lunch like every other day, which is, I think, where I learned to love Indian food. And they just had highlights of Bollywood movies running at all times. And so, yes, I've watched a lot of very big, extravagant musical numbers from movies, but I've never watched an entire one.
And I can't eat Indian food, so
I can only imagine.
At all.
I can only imagine. Yes, there are a lot of spices, lots of good flavors, but yes, your stomach better be ready for it.
It always smells amazing, and there's an Indian restaurant like a stone's throw from where I live, and you often smell the food, and it always smells so good, but, oh, mate, I'd be
It would be that Dumb and Dumber scene.
Oh, for like a week. It would be insane. I can't even eat KFC because of the stuff they cook, herbs and spices they put in that. So Indian food is just no. Can't do it.
All right. Well, anyway, I love it. And fortunately, we found a place here in Beijing that has amazing Indian food. And we partake at least once a week.
Awesome.
It's good. So anyway, you didn't ask about
my share.
I am happy to. But yeah, you didn't ask about the food. You asked about the movies. I haven't seen the movies, but I enjoy the food. Anyway, that's it for the Wayne Manor Mailbox. We're going to close that up. If you've got a message or a question for us, you can send that to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com. But that's where we're going to wrap up this episode, this quick episode that had no homework that is still 90 minutes. What up?
I can't say I'm surprised.
I'm shocked. I thought we were in and out in 40 minutes. I thought that was going to be it.
Well, I'm not going to make a joke. I'm tempted to, but I won't.
Are you gonna talk about disorder? Is that where you're gonna go?
No, I just thought of you and I being in and out in 40 minutes. Like,
oh, okay, you went that way. Okay.
Yeah, dude, do you know me?
Somebody said, I can't even remember, but somebody said, "Oh, you should invite Hunter and Michael onto BatCast so we can get 4-hour episodes." And I was like, no, I don't need to do that.
Well, Batman's always been there, so.
He's one of those characters who's always been there. And plus, the difference is Disorder is once a month. And so you listen to 1 hour a week, and then it's time for the next episode.
That's true, actually.
That's the rule. Anyway, that's it. We're going to wrap this baby up. Thank you guys, as always. It is always good to hear from you. Thank you for your questions. And we'll see what happens next week with FanDome Part 2. It's like Christmas 2.
Man, it's September. We'll be talking about that movie before we know it again. Jesus.
Oh, dude, my good pal Scotty, who does the Christmas specials on Real Fans with us.
Yes.
He has fallen into a Christmas commercial black hole this week, and he just keeps sending me Christmas commercials, and I'm like, these are great, but I'm not ready to watch them yet. Like, send me Halloween commercials, and we will get to Christmas. But he can't help himself. So, yeah, like he's ready. He's raring to go for Christmas.
Good on him. God bless Scott Hopkins.
Yep, and he has found some gems, let me tell you. But that's something we'll talk about on another show.
You shared one of them with me the other day, and I was,
Wasn't it wonderful?
It was amazing.
Oh, my God. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, yeah, right now it is spooky season, and that's what we're focused on. So, yeah, next week we'll have FanDome Part 2, and then the week after that is Batman Day. And as we said at the beginning, make sure you keep an eye out for the Batman Day episode for our conversation with Kevin Altieri, because it really was fun, and I really think you guys are going to enjoy it.
Oh, yes. No, definitely. Yeah, such a good way to spend Sunday.
Excellent. Well, very cool. Anyway, Brendan, always a pleasure, never a chore, as you like to say. Thanks for joining.
I don't know if I've ever said that before, but no.
You've said that.
It is. I do, yeah. It is always fun. The fact that we were able to, in our real time, do this twice today has been a really good way to spend a Sunday. So thank you. It was really, really good.
Good. I'm sorry, I gotta tell you this. On air, with all of our friends listening, I was messaging you a couple days ago, and me and Catherine were watching TV, and I was messaging you, and she just looks over and she goes, "Texting your boyfriend?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Mate, I get that every day. Every day.
And then I was texting Hunter, and she's like, "Oh, who are you talking to?" I'm like, "My other boyfriend, Hunter."
That's amazing. It's good that Jess and Catherine know their place.
Yeah, important. Anyway, people, if they don't know the Nightlight, tell them where to find the Nightlight.
You can find The Nightlight at thenightlight.podbean.com, on Twitter at nightlightpod, and facebook.com/thenightlight, and you can find me on Twitter at Loey007.
Cool. Jamie is not joining us this week, but you can follow him, BatRaider3960, on Twitter. And as always, when schedules align, he will be back as soon as he can. But that'll do it. Thank you guys, as always, for joining us and for downloading the show. Please do subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. And as Michael Keaton's Batman says, I want you to tell all your friends about me. Visit holybatcast.com and follow Holy BatCast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. If you've got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, feel free to send that to holybatcast@rf4rm.com. So that'll do it. On behalf of Brendan and Jamie, I've been Andy. This has been Holy BatCast. We'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Holy BatCast is brought to you by real fans for real movies. Remember, the thoughts and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone, and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for.
What is that?
Back up.
What the